Today is Friday, March 1st, 2024. My name is Eisenhower Onyiuke. I'm 6'2", 210, single, no kids, never been married. If you ain't watched the first video, go check out the first video. It's the introduction. It's a list of things I experienced from when I first went viral to now. The experiences I went through. And it's just a brief introduction of what I'm gonna get into in this video today. So going viral, it caused me to get attacked in different ways and different versions. As I stated in the introduction, I'm not doing this for clout, I'm not doing this for fame, I'm not doing this for money, I'm not doing this for attention. This is just a personal testimony of my experience to bring awareness. In the first video, there was a couple of things that I'm gonna re-mention in case you didn't see it. And also I'm going to go slightly more in depth because I actually forgot to mention things that I went viral for. So if you're wondering what I went viral for, as I stated, not only did I go viral, but I went viral in the streets because the streets knew who I was. But technically, the things that I was doing was what was actually going viral. So, like, things that I would do that would go viral. Are, for example, I've seen this sign right here, like I popularized and made this go viral. In 2015, a lot of people be throwing this up. This started with me. And I done seen it get turned into an emoji. I done went viral on dating sites for the phrase blessed, the phrase anything is possible, for creating a slang baddie, or baddies, as people like to say. I went like things I've done were turned into emotes in games like 2K. I also went viral in 2K just by playing the game because I was so good at the game. Me just being a creative individual, a super creative individual. I also went viral in 2014 for making the pictures with the sun behind them go viral. I went viral for my music on this app called Rap Chat, who I've tried to contact multiple times via email. They responded once and then stopped responding to my emails. I went viral on the Rap Chat as King G, like a king, like somebody who's keen. G, so K-E-E-N-G, or as people like to say, King. But yeah, I was hoping to get in contact with them so that they could give me my account back so I could probably or possibly recreate some of the songs that I made and recorded. But they don't, to no avail. They haven't, or they stopped responding. I'm the original creator of the Pop Smoke dance, as people like to call it. Shout out to Pop Smoke. I've created inventions, slangs, like drip. I created the word drip. I've created dances. I've created words, like actual words, like that were not in the dictionary. When people take their sneakers, their shoelaces, and hang them out their shoes at the side without tying them, I made that go viral. Like, I was the originator of that. Man, amongst many other things that I've created or I've made going viral. And I'm not angry. I'm just stating the facts, because me being known for creating these things, or people knowing that I've created these things, has made me a target in life and by the police. But I'm not angry, because I actually feel inspired. I feel inspired that people are inspired by me, and that things I've created have gotten popular to the point where it has reached a worldwide audience. Also, if you didn't watch the first video, I would like to reiterate things that I spoke about previously. And one of those things are the fact that people knew who I was beforehand. So people would start situations with me, whether in real life or mostly on the internet. They would start arguments with me or situations. And being the fact that there was no face attached to the things that were going viral, I was like an anonymous person, and these people would try to go viral or attach themselves to me so that they could go viral, or just depict me in a negative light, because people already knew who I was in real life. I just wasn't known on the internet for doing these things or creating these things. So they would take situations, exaggerate them, lie about them, to tarnish my image. So as I stated in the introduction, the reason I'm really putting these videos out is because it's not to highlight how I've gone viral for these things, because I've actually known for many years, and I've never once created a video to put myself out there. I don't like fame. I'm only really doing these videos to shed light because my rights were abused. Injustice was expressed towards me. And just to bring awareness due to the fact that going viral made me a target in life, even among civilians. or people who believed these depicted negative images of me. I don't know how to necessarily go about addressing these situations because there are so many. As I've stated, I've been arrested over 30 times with no conviction due to lack of evidence, or the fact that the people who arrested me, the officers who arrested me, or the people who put me in these situations, they lied on public documentation. So I personally don't know how to go about addressing these situations, but I will try my best to talk about 3 situations I believe that have affected me the most. So I will talk about how I was attacked by a bus driver in 2021. I will also talk about the 1 out of 3 times I was beaten up by the police. I was beaten up by the police 3 times. One of these times were in 2022. That was the one where my meniscus was torn. In the most recent situation of how I got pepper sprayed and tased in 2023. So I would like to talk about how my rights were abused and how the malpractice of my rights led to me being falsely incarcerated, and what occurred during the 20-day period I was incarcerated. Just to briefly go over things I've discussed in the first video, my rights were violated more times than I can count. The police have falsely arrested me in my own house without any warrants. They've arrested me without and abused my rights by not allowing me to be properly dressed. They arrested me with no shoes. I believe all of these things were in order to tarnish my image, defame my character, and to destroy the likeness that people think I've created based upon the things that I've gone viral for or made to go viral for, so that when the time comes in which people know who created these sensations, these viral sensations, an ugly picture or defamation of is attached to these things as well. So in 2021, I was attacked by a bus driver. I was on my way to court on the bus, trying to go to the one out of many court dates that I was given due to these illegal arrests. And I got on the bus with $20 cash. Now, when I got on the bus, the bus driver recognized who I was, because as I've stated, I've been viral since 2014, 15. And I've been getting in situations with civilians, police officers, and people online who try to defame my character or attach themselves to me like leeches for whatever purpose. So the bus driver, he recognized who I was. I could tell. In these negative situations, it becomes a situation where people try to negatively make me appear in an invalid way, or in this situation, the bus driver tried to disrespect me. So I get on the bus, and when I get on the bus with $20. Now, when I get on the bus, I asked the bus driver if I could ask people for change. Excuse me. Now, instead of him allowing me to get change from people and do his job, he starts disrespecting me, calling me out of my name, questioning me as if I did something wrong. Not to mention the fact that I had to rush out of my house so that I could catch the bus, which was a 2-hour ride to the courthouse, just to be on time. So when I get on the bus driver fails to do his job. He starts disrespecting me, and that's when I told him to act his age, because I felt like it was uncalled for, and I don't like being disrespected. So, but I used my words, and I spoke to him, tried to be calm at first. He didn't want to show respect towards me still. And then I told him, he was acting childish, and that he was older than me, and that he should be moving with more wisdom and understanding. He took offense, and from there, he opened the door to his seat, and he commenced to attack me. When he attacked me, I had no other option but to defend myself. And luckily in this situation, people who saw what happened told the police the truth when they arrived on the scene. And I wasn't charged with anything. I wasn't arrested. Yeah. But in that situation, that was a situation in which somebody, a civilian, that was a situation in which a civilian took matters into their own hand and tried to risk my freedom over $2.50 to prove a point. Who knows what his intentions were, but to prove some kind of point, or to get some type of reaction. He could have also injured me in the process, all for $2.50. In New York City, which is where I'm from, the fine for attacking a employee of the state can be federal imprisonment of up to 10 years. Okay, now in 2022, 2022, all right, so in 2022, there was an article written about me. Now, in 2022, this article that was written about me was a complete lie. And to a certain extent, it made me believe that there was outside forces trying to defame my character. So, because why else would you write a false article about somebody without any real evidence? Let me read the article first. So, at the time, there were about more than 10 to 15 articles about me, about that one situation. So that happened in 2021, the summer. That happened in 2021, but the case commenced all the way to 2022. That was the grand jury case. And 2022 is where I'm gonna start the story from, to a certain extent. So let me read the article. In Carroll Place, New York, a Far Rockaway man was arrested Monday and damaged a police car while trying to resist, Nassau County Police says. According to police, officers responded to a disturbance at the Holiday Inn at 369 Old Country Road in Carroll Place around 2 a.m. Police say Eisenhower Onyiuke, 25, had gotten into an argument with a staffer after he was unable to pay for his room. Police say the officers performed a standard background check on Onyiuke and found there were 2 active bench warrants for his arrest. The officers began to place him under arrest, and police say he began to kick and flail his arms. Once he was arrested and placed into the patrol car, police say he started kicking again and broke one of the rear windows. So that was the article that was written about me, which was a complete lie. I saw at least 10 media platforms say the same thing, and this is a complete lie. That's not what happened. And now this is the beginning of the story. In 2022, I was arrested on a train. I was taking the LIRR, the 257 train, PM, going to Ronkonkoma. I'm not really sure the date, but it was either ending of January or beginning of February. I was arrested on a train, the 2:57 p.m. train going around Concomar, and there was a racist conductor on the train who was discriminating against me. But it was one of these situations where I was recognized, and the person just felt like doing whatever they wanted to do, abusing their authority. So I get on the train, and I've taken that lot of block many times. I was going to school, going to college. I used to go to Nassau Community College. There are three ways you could pay for a lot of block ticket. One way is through purchase of a ticket before you get on the train. Another way is with the conductor. Actually, there's 4 ways, excuse me. Another way is with the app. And the fourth and final way is via mail. So the conductor can write you a ticket and send mail to your house, which is a way I've paid multiple times, late nights, coming from school, tired, wasn't able to get a ticket. So on this particular day, 2:57 around Concomar train, when I get the date, I'll definitely put it in, I'll find a way to include it. But when this 2:57 p.m. train going around Concomar, there was a conductor, a white older woman, and I tried to ask if she could write me a ticket, and she said no. She then verbally abused me by speaking in a way that was condescending, and telling me that if I didn't pay, she would kick me off or call the police on me. Well, actually, before that, she just was being verbally condescending by like raising her voice at me, speaking to me with a nasty tone, and it was crazy because what made the situation crazy was that somebody across from me, he didn't have a ticket and he didn't pay, but she allowed him to get on the train. So it didn't really matter to me because either way, I was just doing my job as a customer and trying to get or use a form of payment, and she didn't want to accept it. So it didn't really matter to me that she didn't want to accept it. It didn't really matter to me that she was allowing somebody else to get on the train. What mattered to me was the fact that I was doing what I had to do. So what ended up happening was I asked the woman if she could write me a ticket. She said no. She verbally abused me. She left to go to another car. Then after that, she came back maybe like 10 minutes later or 6 minutes later, and she asked me if she could write me a ticket now. I said, ma'am, why would you speak to me in a manner that you just spoke to me and then come back and ask me to pay for a ticket? Like, you were very discriminatory, very rude. I already offered for you to write me a ticket. And I honestly forgot what she said, but she was still being rude and just ignorant. And I said, you know what, honestly, no, I'm not paying for a ticket no more. Because when I asked you, you were being rude. And now all of a sudden, you're trying to write me a ticket. After being discriminatory, after being rude, after creating a scene on the train, like, that's crazy. So I said no, and then she said, well, I'm gonna call the police at the next stop. I said, that's fine by me, because I felt like, I was in the right. Because I did my job. she was the one who refused my service, was rude, and she felt like she had the right to call the police. So I get off at the Jamaica stop. The stop that I was getting off at was the Jamaica stop on the LIRR train. And when I get to the stop, there are about 4 policemen on the stop. Now, these policemen, they approached me and tried to apprehend me as I got off the train, and asked the conductor what happened. And then they asked me what happened, and when they asked me what happened, I told them exactly what happened. How I offered to pay via mail in the ticket, and that she refused my service, and she was being discriminatory, and that she was being rude, and they disregarded these facts. And these officers, what they did was they actually laughed. And when I caught one of them laughing, I said, "That's not funny." Like, so the officers proceeded to then ask if I was gonna pay for the ticket or not. And I said no. Why would I pay for a ticket if I already offered to pay for a ticket? The conductor is the one who didn't do her job. So they said, "All right, we're gonna write you're under arrest." And I just knew that something weird was going on because the police officer here already laughed. You know, like it was something unfair and unjust going on, and something weird. So they took me to the precinct, which was inside the station, and I'm thinking I'm gonna get a ticket written up, and I'm gonna be on my way. But that's actually not what happened. So I'm in the precinct, and before I get into the cell, they do a search. And in this search, one of the officers were very friendly when it came to searching me. He grabbed on my genital areas. He felt on my private parts the best he could. It made me feel uncomfortable. I told him to stop. But these cops, all they do is abuse their power, you know, so I'm in the cell, and what ended up happening was instead of just writing me a ticket and letting me be on my way, the cops decided to ask me for my personal information, like my date of birth, my name, things of these natures. So I believe what they were doing was running a background check, even though they were supposed to just give me my ticket so that I could leave. So to my knowledge, or to my, let's say, to my discernment, that's actually what occurred. They were running a background check on me, but I didn't have nothing to hide, or that's what I thought. And I was doing my best to comply with the officers because, as I stated, I felt like I didn't have nothing to hide. So what ended up happening was I was in the precinct for like an hour, and then finally the officers come to me and they're like, "Yo," I asked them, "When am I gonna leave?" And they're like, "Yo, like, you're actually not gonna leave. You have a warrant in Long Island, and you're gonna be escorted from Queens to Long Island by police service." And that it didn't make any sense to me because I was up to date on I was up to date on my cases, and the case that they were referring to at the time was the grand jury case. And I was up to date on the case because I had a lawyer, somebody representing me, who, if I didn't go to court, they would speak for me, represent me, or they would let me know if I had to go to court. And if I did have to go to court, I would go to court. So at that time, I was up to date. I didn't miss court. And what ended up happening was the police from Jamaica, the Jamaica LIRR station, they actually did not write me a ticket for the train incident, which is weird. Why wouldn't you write me a ticket and claim I have a warrant and just give me over to Nassau? Not to mention the fact that I might be wrong, but not to mention the fact that based upon my knowledge, I believe that Nassau didn't have jurisdiction in Queens. So how could they escort me from Queens, come all the way to Queens, and escort me from Queens to Nassau based upon an arrest? So not only that, but even if they do, why did the Jamaica station take it upon themselves to do a background check on me? That's not a normal procedure in a train stop. And why didn't they give me a subpoena to see for Queens Criminal Court due to the train incident? So Nassau County Police came, and when they came, they picked me up, and when they picked me up, they took me to Nassau, where I spent, I was overnight in the cell, and then I saw the judge in the morning time. So when I saw the judge in the morning time, my lawyer at the time wasn't there, and not only was he not there, but not only was he not there, but they told me that I had to wait in a holding cell till 2 p.m. So my lawyer was supposed to be there at 12 p.m., but he wasn't there, and I had to wait in the holding cell till 2 p.m. until he was ready. So I get to this holding cell, and when I get to this holding cell, I'm asked to strip naked. Now, due to knowledge, due to my own knowledge, I believe that when a person's comes from outside, you're not allowed to strip search them. It's only somebody who's under incarceration is someone who you're allowed to strip search. So, excuse me, once again, correct me if I'm wrong, but that was what I later found out. But in the situation and in the moment, I questioned it because it didn't even make sense to me. Because I've been arrested multiple times and I've never been asked to strip search. So, and it just seemed odd to me. So, I get in the cell, the holding cell, that the judge told me to wait for my lawyer until 2 because my lawyer was late after spending overnight in the central bookings. So They see me, the officers, the court officers, they see me. They ask to strip search me, and when they ask to strip search me, I'm questioning it. I'm asking them, how come? I'm not being rude. I'm just curious because I've never been in a situation like that before. So in that moment, I'm still complying with everything they're asking me to do. And what ends up happening is these officers become very rude, very nasty, very disrespectful. It's to the point where they honestly treat me like an animal. So, mind you, I'm not even convicted. I'm not a convicted felon. I'm not a convicted inmate. I'm just somebody who came from outside, and I was supposed to be released on ROR, released on my own recognizance. I just needed my lawyer to be present. I was arrested for something else. They said I had a warrant, a bench warrant, for a grand jury case. That's a failure to show. So naturally, in that situation, I will be released on an ROR, which is a release on my own recognizance. My lawyer just has to be present. And from there, it transpired into me getting strip searched. And so as I'm getting strip searched, and these officers are acting rude and nasty and disrespectful and treat me like an animal, one of the officers, what he does is he keeps dropping my clothes on the floor and kicking it at me. And I ask him, I'm like, excuse me, sir, you don't have to drop my clothes on the floor. Like, you can hand them to me the same way I'm handing them to you. And he's like, he's ignoring me. And then he just continuously does it with like my hoodie or my shirt or my shoes. He just continuously does it, because that was as far as I went until I was beaten up on. So what ended up happening was, by the third time, when I say it to him, I ask him more directly now, like, why do you keep doing that? Hand me my stuff. I'm not an animal. This is what I tell him. And the other officers that are present, they start berating at me, getting loud, and talking down on me. And I'm just trying to defend myself, and I start to explain myself to them stating, can you speak to your fellow officer and co-worker, because he's being very disrespectful. So like I said, they start berating me, talking negative and disrespecting me. And I speak up for myself again, and I'm like, yo, you know what? Honestly, you guys wouldn't talk to me like that if y'all was outside. And he's like, oh yeah? And I'm like, yeah. He calls me name. He's like, you're not a tough guy, you're a punk. And I'm like, you don't even know who I am. He's like, so who are you? I let him know my name is Smokey, and I'm from Far Rockaway, New York. And if he was in my I told him if he was in my neighborhood and he did that, it would be a problem. He said, what would you do? And I said, you could find out. I said something along those lines, and that's when they just started attacking me, punched me in my face. They punched me in my face multiple times. They were attacking me, kicking me. One of the officers put me in a headlock, dragged me to the ground. What ended up happening was, as he was dragging me to the ground, I was going unconscious because he had put me in like a sleeper hold. So when one of them put me in, it was, mind you, it was like 10 officers. Not one, not two, not three. It's about 10 officers against one person. I'm not even fighting back because I know how racist these cops are based upon how they were treating me, and I know that they could say anything. So why am I fighting if I'm unmatched, outmatched, when it comes to authority, outmatched when it comes to the amount of people. And I also understand that if I fight back, it's gonna be worse. But I wouldn't have fought back either way. So I get dragged to the floor in a sleep hold position. One of the officers actually put me to sleep. They were trying to knock me out by kicking me and punching me, but when it didn't work, one of the officers decided to put me to sleep. Even though I wasn't fighting back, even though I wasn't resisting, even though I was complying the whole time. They just didn't like what I said when I spoke up for myself. So what ended up happening was, I guess one of the officers kicked me, like when I was on the ground, stepped on my leg. They might have fractured my leg and tore my meniscus, because when I got up, I couldn't walk. It was afterwards that when the adrenaline stopped and the pain settled in, that's when I couldn't walk and I couldn't run, and I was limping actually. And my face was bruised up. There was even a picture of my face being severely bruised up when they processed me. So remember, I was supposed to wait for my lawyer. What ended up happening was, these officers know they abused their authority. They know they broke the law. So what they decided to do next was abuse my rights and cover up what occurred. So they covered up what occurred by sending me to Nassau County Jail. And I don't know what they was thinking. They sent me to Nassau County Jail. They lied to the judge and told the judge that, who knows what they told the judge, that I attacked him, maybe, I don't know. And from there, I was sent to Nassau Jail and processed and taken a picture of. And in the photo that was taken, you can see my injuries. You can see how swollen my face is, things of that nature. Also, there was a spit bag put on my face when I was escorted from the holding cell in Nassau to Nassau County Jail, which was like a 30-minute car ride. So after I came to, I tasted blood in my mouth. So when I tasted blood in my mouth, I didn't spit, but I tried to look at I tried to like pardon me, but I tried to like look at my spit to see if I was bleeding, because I tasted blood in my mouth and the spit dropped out of my mouth. I didn't spit on the ground, I didn't spit at anybody. So the fact that they put the spit bag on my face was unwarranted and another abuse of authority and power. And I told them I couldn't breathe. I told them I've had asthmatic problems in the past, and they completely ignored me and claimed that I was spitting, but it was just another form of control. And I could have died in that situation because I couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe in the spit bag. But God willing, you know, I made it from point A to point B with the spit bag on my face for about 45 minutes to an hour. One of the worst experiences I've ever been through. Yeah. And like I said, a picture was taken of my face brutally battered and bruised. And it should be in the system. The things I've experienced while incarcerated it's probably even worse. So my tooth is gone. I had an abscess tooth in the back with a crown on it, and I got that from not visiting the dentist when I was younger. We stopped going to the dentist probably for like a couple of years. So I ended up getting an abscess tooth. I had perfect teeth before that. Never had a cavity my whole life. That was my first cavity. Oh, not to mention the fact, this is a little off topic, but I've been arrested over 30 times. The first time I was arrested was in 2017 at the age of 23. Before that, I've never been arrested. I don't break any laws. I'm a law-abiding citizen. So I get to jail, and when I get to jail, I don't even know why I'm there, honestly. Like I don't even know why I'm there for real. Because I don't remember breaking the law. I don't remember seeing a judge. I know I was beaten up pretty badly, and I understood that the situation was a cover-up. So I'm in jail, and everybody who I could speak to, I'm letting them know, like, yo, I don't know why I'm here. Like, and instead of people doing the research and trying to figure out if I was supposed to be there or not, they're just ignoring it. So while I was there, I wasn't given a toothbrush to brush my teeth. You have to pay for a toothbrush via commissary. The toothbrush that they do give you is a tube that goes on your finger that's probably about this big, and it has spikes on it, not bristles, but spikes, like spaced out spikes, and it's impossible for you to use that to brush your teeth. I'm not even sure if they give you toothpaste, but being the fact that I had an abscessed tooth, when I was finally released from jail, the infection spread through my body, and it started causing me chest pains near my heart. Not to mention the fact that I had a torn meniscus while being in jail. So this is just one of the situations that I experienced, and all I could think is somebody like myself who was only incarcerated for 20 days, God willing, I was able to get up out of my situation. But somebody else who is facing more time, who might have worse ailments, could you imagine what they're going through? Could you imagine the hardships just based upon the fact that the system is not made or suitably accessible in a way in which somebody can maintain and sustain their health, you know. So just by me being incarcerated, I almost died in that one instance. What if the infection would have spread to my heart? What if the infection did spread to my heart, but I don't know, you know? Like, so not only that, but I was fasting in jail for about 13 or 14 days. So I was under the belief that I wasn't fasting because I was on strike. I wasn't fasting because I was mentally ill. I was fasting because I was under the preconceived notion that my family was going to bail me out due to the fact that they understood that I was wrongly jailed and I was incarcerated after being beat up by the police. But they failed to take that into consideration for whatever reason. Reasons I don't really want to disclose at the moment. And I kept begging them for 2 weeks to try to get me out. And within that 2 weeks period, I did not eat because before I got to prison, I was on a certain diet. What ended up happening was I actually didn't get out. I didn't get bailed out. And actually, when I initially was incarcerated and thrown in jail as a cover-up, I saw the judge a week after I was incarcerated. And when I saw the judge, he set no bail for me. and my lawyer refused to speak up. Now, this is somebody who doesn't have a record, never been convicted. I didn't commit a crime where I did anything to harm anybody, but there was no bail set, which didn't make any sense. And then after that, my next court appearance, I believe, which was like a week later, my lawyer didn't want to speak up for me at the time, and I had to speak up for myself. So, me speaking up for myself, I conveyed to the judge that I do work in my community, that I don't have a record. I conveyed the type of person I was, and my background, and I asked that he grant me a bail, or set a bail, and he complied with the request and gave me a $50,000 bail, which I still thought was pretty ridiculous for somebody who had no criminal background, no criminal record. So while I'm incarcerated, I thought about fighting my case, because originally my case, which they called a felony, and I'm gonna get into that story after this, but about how I originally got the charges. But anyway, so my lawyer, who while I was incarcerated within this period of time, he came to me probably like within or before my second court appearance, and he told me, he said, yo, I believe he said, yo, like, if you fight your case, there's a chance you might spend 2 years in jail fighting your case, because this is Corona time, and you know, around this time, a lot of cases are backed up, and that was actually one of the things that discouraged me and made me take a deal from the DA, because I had a torn meniscus, I had an abscess tooth in my mouth that was spreading, an infection, and I had no way of getting home because my family didn't want to bail me out. So fast forward a little bit. I won't tell you guys what ended up happening with the case, but I will tell you guys that what happened during my 20-day stint in county jail. So within this period of time, like I said, I was fasting the whole time, and I wasn't eating and I wasn't drinking for 14 days. And within this period of time, there were doctors coming to see me due to the fact that I wasn't eating. Like, at first they came to see me to check on my well-being, and then what ended up happening was I told them about the ailments that I faced. Instead of them focusing on my meniscus and allowing me to get it checked out at the hospital, because like I said, I was limping, I couldn't even walk, couldn't even run. They were more concerned about the fact that I didn't want to eat. So that became a thing, and they tried to make it seem as if I was in a danger to myself and to prisoners because I chose to fast. And they sent me to a psych ward. Because of that, after day 14, and when they did that, they did that, I get there, and when I get there, I see one of the doctors, and then when I see one of the doctors, I speak to the doctor briefly. She asked me what's wrong. I told her there was nothing wrong. I just told her that I was fasting. I thought I was gonna get bailed out, and I don't know. They tried to make it seem as if there was more to it than that, which was, once again, the system. You know, the system, it's a very devious system, and authoritative figures in the system like to accentuate things for their own purposes. So what ended up happening was the same doctor left and went to go do something else because the hospital was busy. And when this occurred, there was another doctor that actually there was an assistant or somebody of that nature that came, and they was doing blood work. Now, they don't do blood work unless you're, excuse me. Now, they don't do blood work unless you're being admitted. So it was odd to me because I had a brief conversation with the doctor, and there was no talks of me being admitted to a psych ward, because in my mind there was no purpose. All I chose to do was not eat. Who was I harming? Who was I affecting? What if this was a religious practice that I was choosing to take part in? It didn't make any sense. So this assistant tries to take my blood, and you know, I've gone to the doctor growing up, and I've gotten blood work growing up, so I know that usually when they take blood work from you, you have to sit up to make it easier. So I was laying down at the time, and I asked the person, the guy, like, if I could sit up. And this guy, like, it just was crazy, because like I said, all these situations that I've gotten in, is from people recognizing me. And in this situation, I could tell, like, I was being recognized, you feel me? It just be so weird, you know? But anyway, I tell a guy, like, yo, like, can I sit up? Because usually that's how, usually that's how I do blood work. So I'm willing to comply, even though it's odd to me, but I'm still willing to comply. But the guy's like, he's I don't know, he was acting ignorant. So when he started telling the officers that escorted me that I was giving them a hard time. And I explained myself to them, and they understood me, but this guy didn't understand me. So what ended up happening was the guy, he walked away, but he said to them before he walked away, like, yo, if he keeps acting up, we're gonna have to sedate him. We're gonna have to give him the needle, which is sedate me, put me to sleep, so that they can administer blood work. Now, once again, this is something that was very odd to me, because I'm not admitted to this psych ward. I'm somebody who was there because I didn't eat. I'm complying, but yet this guy's acting as if he's acting crazy. And I explained to the officers, like, yo, like, what did I do wrong? I'm just telling the guy, like, let me sit up so that there's no mistakes being made. I don't want the needle to break off in my arm. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I'm scared of needles. So I don't want a vein to bust or something, you know? So like, when it happened is, the officers, they shaking their head like they don't know. And like, I just started begging them, like, yo, can you just get the doctor? Because like, realistically, like, I shouldn't be going through this just because I chose not to eat. If eating is the reason why somebody wants to stick a needle in my arm or take my blood work without without the doctor even A-okaying this person taking blood work, because he did that on his own accord. I forgot to mention that. Also, somebody threatening to sedate me because I didn't eat seems kind of crazy. So I'm like, yo, like, please get the doctor. Like, let me eat. If y'all gonna do all of this, if they doing all of this just because I didn't eat, let me eat. So what ends up happening is I eat, and while I was there, I was also encouraged to take some drug or pill or something like that that is made for either sleeping or something, I'm not sure, anxiety or something. And the doctor who tried to give it to me kept insisting, like, yo, like, take this pill, take this pill. And I was like, no, because I don't take pills. I don't have nothing wrong with me. I've never taken pills before. So it's like, why are you insisting that I take a pill, you know? It just was very odd. And if I'm being honest, I felt like the guy who was doing my blood work, I felt like he wanted to commit bodily harm to me. Because it was just odd how aggressive he was being. And he was somebody who was doing blood work. Like, why are you being this aggressive? Why are you being this, acting this crazy? Like, if I'm just telling you I want to sit up. So I get back, I'm going back to Nassau County Jail, and when I'm going back, one of the county jail officers, he's like, he's back already. So that kind of showed me that, like, yo, like, they didn't plan on me coming back. You feel me? I'm trying to say, I even overheard him say, like, he's a level 3, he's not supposed to be back by now. So I guess a level 3 is like the highest level. So, or highest, when I say highest level, I mean highest level of threat. So I guess they wrote some form of documentation, labeled me a threat or a danger to myself and others because I chose not to eat, which is insane. The system, this is the system. Like, I've worked in schools before. I've worked in my community before. I've done a lot of different things, and just being somebody who worked in the education system to being treated as somebody who something is wrong with, or somebody who is a danger to themselves just because I didn't want to eat. That was one of the things that showed me that the system needed to be fixed. So, another thing I realized is that, you know, like, when people know who you are, they try to take advantage of you from an authority perspective, and they also try to, like, do things that they know they shouldn't be doing, or that they wouldn't normally do in a regular situation. So what ended up happening was, that was like day 14, 6 more days. In the next 6 days, I go to see the judge. I see the judge, and I just take the deal that they offer because I was in fear for my life while I was incarcerated, and I had a torn meniscus, and I felt like that was my only option based upon the things I experienced. So the article that I read before, that said I didn't pay for the room, and they checked they searched my name up, and I had a warrant. So originally that situation occurred in 2021. I have proof that shows I paid for my room that day. The short version of that story, if you guys in the comments ever want me to tell a full story, I'll give a more in-depth version of the story. But the short version of that story is that was in a hotel, and I was in a hotel that I've previously been to and that I know the owner of. And what ended up happening was the owner wasn't there. It was late at night. It was around 12. There was an employee at the desk. Once again, it's just one of those situations where I'm recognized and people are abusing their authority or just trying to do things that they wouldn't normally do in a situation. Kind of like gatekeep or micromanage. So the guy, like, he's giving me a hard time. Like, at first we was waiting. I was with somebody. We were waiting inside of the lobby. A female. We were waiting inside of the lobby, and we were trying to get the money to pay for the room because I was like $30 short. So I was trying to call people that I know to send me the money, and we were probably waiting in the lobby probably for like 30 minutes. So what ended up happening was after like 30-40 minutes, when I finally got the money to pay for the room, I booked the room and I go to see the guy at the desk, and he knows we're having a hard time. So I guess he tried to take advantage of the situation by giving me an even harder time. And what ended up happening was, at first he told me he couldn't find my room, what I booked, which made no sense. So I had to wait another 30 to 40 minutes inside the lobby until the room showed. And then after that, he told me it was like a incidental fee, $100 incidental fee or something like that. Which once again was kind of weird because like every hotel doesn't charge an incidental fee, and I've been to that hotel before, and they don't charge an incidental fee. So what ended up happening was I had to get like $100 more for the incidental fee, which I had, but it was on a girl's card that I was with. So I went to go use her card and to pay for the incidental fee. And what ended up happening was, like, he was giving me a hard time because he claimed that he needed to see her ID before I could use the card, which was weird. Like, this guy was very creepy, very weird. It really seemed like he was like, he had an eye out for her, and he was sexually attracted to her, and he wanted to see where she lived. That's what it seemed like to me. And I said no because I was trying to protect the interests of this female. It just didn't make any sense. So I'm like, plus I've never been in a situation where like I went to a hotel and the card that I used mattered. Like, so anyway, I tell him no, like, I'm not giving you somebody else's ID. That's not mine. Like, so he's like, okay, then I can't give you the room. And this is after he said he couldn't find a room, after he told me there was no room. Like, he was just telling me a lot of nonsense. So what ended up happening was, I told the girl to send me the bread so that I could use my card. So she sent me the bread so I could use my card. And I was about to pay for the incidental fee, and what ended up happening was the guy told me no. He said I couldn't pay for a room. Like, so then what ended up happening was his coworker came in to relieve him, and then when his coworker came in to relieve him, he told his coworker some nonsense. His coworker started yelling at me as if I didn't pay for my room. And I told the coworker, like, yo, you don't even know what's going on. Like, you're yelling at me, but you just going based upon what somebody told you. What ended up happening was, he threatened to call the police. When the police came, they did an investigation. I showed them my booking number. And then when I showed them my booking number, they told me that I could get my room. And they told the people in the hotel to give me my room. And I was about to take the room. And then I told the police, I said to the police, like, honestly, I don't really care about the room. Like, you feel me trying to say, because I know I paid for it. It's not like, I appreciate the room. You guys helped me to get the room, but I just want to know one question. Why did that even happen? And it was a weird, what ended up happening was, instead of giving me the answer, like a compliant civilian, law-abiding civilian, they decided to disregard the question. They asked me for my ID, which I gave them because he wanted to see my name. He didn't say he was the officer didn't ask to run my ID because I didn't commit no crime for you to run my ID. He just wanted to see my ID initially to see if the name on the ID matched the room booking number. And just to see if my face matched the ID as well. And then what ended up happening was he ran my ID without my permission, without even telling me. And then he claimed that I had a warrant. As I stated, in this train situation, they claimed there was a warrant. As I stated in the introduction, the cops claimed they had warrants, where they told me the warrants weren't really there. And even in this situation, they told me I had a warrant, and I knew I didn't have a warrant because I was up to date on my cases, but that's what they claimed. And they also, like I said, ran my ID illegally, and they just put me in handcuffs just because I had an open court case. So it just goes to show you the system is an abusive system. If you have an open court case, they could literally say whatever, and nobody's gonna stop them. So what ended up happening was, they was trying to take me out of the hotel, but I didn't comply because, I didn't comply because I felt like I was being kidnapped. Like, how could you just take somebody off the street just because you stated they have a warrant? And I know I didn't have a warrant. So I honestly felt like I was being kidnapped, and that's what started the grand jury case. I currently have a case from 2023 that I also would like to talk about. In this situation, I got tased and pepper sprayed, and my rights were violated. This is the most recent case. Once again, a situation where being recognized and going viral made me a target by civilians and by the police. I went to work, I got off of work, and when I got off of work, I went to Walmart to buy groceries that I would use to eat later on that night. And somebody in the store, one of the store employees, started harassing me. He accused me of sexually harassing one of his employees. And this was all because I was listening to my music, and I was rapping my music out loud. So I've been to this store probably about 200 times. I've been residing in Amherst, Buffalo area, since 2022, when I first came home from incarceration. And my family members didn't want me to be living with them anymore. Once again, a situation where people who know that I went viral want to, in some type of fashion form, stunt my growth or attach themselves like a leech to me. and to ruin or tarnish my image. They call the police on me, make up lies, get me kicked out of the house with a court order of protection, even though I have cameras set up in my room based upon the fact that 5,000 to 10,000 worth of items were stolen out of my room. It holds no weight in court because the system is favored without no justiceness or fairness. So I resided in Amherst, Buffalo, because I couldn't afford to live in the city anymore. And I was hurt. I couldn't work. So living out here, after a year of not working, I decided to go back to work because the infection that I had was spreading through my body. I took antibiotics for it, but at the time, the antibiotics, they weren't working. So, and I didn't have any insurance, so I had to get a job in order to pay for surgery to get my tooth removed to stop the infection from spreading even further. So what ended up happening was I got a job, and when I got this job, I got off of work. I went to the store, and I've been going to the store for I went to the store within the last 2 years probably like 200 times. So I went to the store. I never had a problem at the store ever. Every time I go to the store, I do the same thing. I rap my music out loud. Everywhere I go, I rap my music out loud. That's the type of person I am. I love music. I love rap. And I love rapping loud. So I get to the store, and there's a new security guard in the store. The store never had a security guard. The security guard comes up to me. It's a female. She asked me to stop being loud. And she was watching me as soon as I got in the store. And like I said, just going viral and being in a situation to where people know who you are, like, it brings a lot of attention sometimes. So as soon as I got in the store, she was already watching me. This is her first day, or her first week. I never saw her in the store before. I don't know how new she is, but I know that this is my first time seeing her. She comes straight up to me. I go to the back of the store to get what I'm looking for. She comes straight up to me, and she states that I'm rapping too loud. I act like I don't hear her. I ignore her, and I tell her, yo, I'm just playing. What happened? She tells me I'm rapping too loud and asks me if I could lower my voice, and I felt like she was trying to silence me. So I said, no, this is a public place and a public store. Like, why do I have to silence myself for you? So what ends up happening is I say no. She walks away. I tell her have a good day. I go about my business. I go to the line. So when I get to the line, I believe a supervisor in the store. I'm not really sure what he is, but I believe he's a supervisor in the store. He comes up to me. He starts talking to me just like she did. I'm ignoring him because I'm listening to my music. Like, I'm looking in his face, but I'm rapping my music. So it's like, why are you talking to me if I'm trying to pay for groceries and I'm rapping my music? Obviously, I'm focused on my music. So what ends up happening is, at that point, I feel like I'm being harassed. So first so what happens is, he says to me, can you lower your voice? I said no. And then he says to me, being the fact that I said no, he says, I heard you sexually harassing my employee. I said, bro, what are you talking about? That's crazy. Like, what are you talking about? Why would you say something like that? I get a little upset. I ask him, why would he say something like that? And he doesn't say it again. I said, no, bro, say it again. Like, all these people are watching us. Say what you said. I say it loud for everybody to hear. I said, bro, at this point, I'm raising my voice in his face. How am I harassing your employee? Because I'm a grown man. I just got off of work. I didn't bother nobody. I ain't do anything to nobody. And I definitely didn't do the stuff that he's accusing me of. So at that point, At that point, he doesn't say it again. And I say, you know what, bro? You lucky, because if we was outside and if you would have said something to me like that, I would have punched you in your face. And then I put my music back in and I go back to listen to my music. And then after that, he starts calling the police on me. And when he calls the police, he claims to the police that I put my hands on him and that I spit on him. And as I'm paying for my stuff, I leave the store. I'm walking out the parking lot. I see the police turning into the parking lot. So when I see the police turning into the parking lot, what ends up happening is I turn back and I go back to the store so that I could talk to the police, so that they don't think I'm running, and because I don't have nothing to hide. I know I didn't do anything wrong. So as I'm talking to the police officer, he asks me what happened. I tell him what happened, and he says, "You're under arrest. I'm taking you to the station." I said, "Excuse me, sir, why am I under arrest if all you have to do is check the camera? And you'll clearly see I didn't put my hands on him. You'll clearly see I didn't spit on him." Like, he didn't have an answer for me. So from there, I asked what the charge was on why he was arresting me. And I asked for his commanding officer. He insisted on stating that he was arresting me and taking me to the precinct. He never clarified that he didn't want to take me to the precinct. He never clarified that he wanted to do a proper investigation. And from there, I said, "Sir, can you call your commanding officer?" He didn't want to. Another officer came to the scene. I explained to him that I was being falsely arrested. He ignored me. And from there, they tripped me, tackled me to the ground, pepper sprayed me, tased me, put me under arrest. All because a proper investigation wasn't done. And somebody, a civilian in the store, accused me of something I didn't do. And once again, from my knowledge, this is because people recognize me, as the multiple situations tell you, and as the arrests tell you. And some people just want to tarnish my image or defame my character, even if they have to lie. So by putting this information out, once again, I hope to introduce a learning curve and correct the system, because authority is being abused and the law is being misused. And hopefully I'm able to attain legal help and sue these people for the wrongdoings and the injustices that I've experienced, and also bring awareness. I don't have a personal plan right now, but in the future, I hope to change laws, correct the justice system, and also correct the jailing system to make more suitable for incarcerated inmates. I feel like that's an aspect of our country that deserves more attention, because I believe in the sanctity and sacredness of life. I don't know how I'm going to go about doing these things, but it will be something that I focus on in the future in order to invoke and create change within the system. If anybody knows any lawyers that could help me with my situations, or if any lawyers happen to see my video, don't hesitate to reach me. I would appreciate it. My email will be in my bio, along with my Instagram and my Patreon. Click the link. You guys can also write in the comments if you guys want me to comment on anything or speak on anything that you've heard within these 2 videos. Also, if you have any questions, I can also make a video about any questions that you guys have. And I will gladly leave my expressions about it and speak on it specifically. Thank you for tapping in and hearing me out.